Can you see Gareth Southgate surviving this?
No way. No. He's not coming back after this. I mean, he even said himself, if they don't win this tournament, he's out. And I think that's...
Well, I'm going to come back in. If you give me a second, I'm going to see if I can grab... Guys, I think the clearance is given.
I was like, what's they're going to score when we're talking to you guys? And it happened.
Hello, welcome to Blog of the Net, match day 4, colon, round of 16. How you doing, Richard?
I'm doing very well, Daniel. You good?
Yep, still enjoying football?
Always enjoying football. It's been a little bit cagey this past round. We already had to do apologies for round 3, but no, I've been still very much enjoying it. Lots of intrigue.
Shall we get straight into who is stinking the place out?
Yeah, more on the French later. Let's start on England.
Oh, touche. Yeah, let's talk about England, shall we? First of all, what did you do when that overhead kick went in? Bicycle. What sort of reaction? It was different to a normal goal for me.
Okay, it wasn't for me. I've heard this from other people, and that's fine. No, I was definitely relieved, but it was just, jubilation, up off the sofa, screaming England. So
could say jubilation.
I also like to live dangerously.
You could say that. I'm not saying that. You've already said that. But yeah. I leapt up. I scared the life out of my dog, who often shows concern for me when I'm showing passion during football. She's just very concerned generally, and wants to check that I'm okay. So that was quite fun. But huge just relief. I mean, I definitely thought we were going out.
What do you make of that? What do you make of the performance? What needs to happen next?
Well, Southgate's gone, hasn't he? He's gone. On his holiday. Players pick up next 2 years. That's what I can do.
And you're leaving early?
Yeah. Only because we don't want to get caught on tram.
I sort of screamed like a toddler just got lost in a supermarket, and it was just pure relief that you've seen them, but you're also slightly angry. And I went, "What are you doing?" And then I started laughing because it was such a great goal.
Bicycle. I've heard a lot of people talk about their anger with it all, and almost letting out that anger. I don't think I was quite there. There was a lot of frustration, of course, and a lot of, premature predictions. We're part of the same, group chat where someone was already saying that this is the most embarrassed they've ever been for England ever. I said, not qualify for maybe Euro 2008, more embarrassing. Could have said Iceland in 2016.
That's why mums go to Iceland.
That's definitely more embarrassing than being 1-0 down after 75 minutes of a game. But people were really quick to sort of jump. And I think a few people almost kind of want us to fail just so they can point and laugh. And I don't know. I
think it's changing. We've talked about how the reaction's been, and it always is a bit like this. If you see the T-shirt I'm wearing, this is course, when we failed to get to 1994. And it's rest in peace, Graham Taylor, 1993. And it's an Englishman with his bags packed. It's basically still that sort of reaction. But I do think there is a bemusement now where, I think I said this in the last pod, where because the draw is so kind, no one wants to really write us off. Well, you mentioned Iceland. And if we look at the performance, we actually played worse than we did against Iceland, I think, for 92 minutes.
I don't know. We were really bad. I'd need to watch the.
If you look at like the shots and the chances we made, we actually made more against Iceland. Like,
fine. I thought the first half was really turgid, really bad. I expected changes at half time, and I know a lot of pundits and people online were suggesting that we would make changes at half time. We didn't. And I actually thought we started the second half okay, and but for some really bad, timing, loss of concentration from Phil Foden, we'd have had that equaliser from a pretty good move, good sweeping ball out to the left from Kane, and then Trippier does well to put Foden in, and it, I think things could have settled down from that point. It didn't.
At the time, I thought that disallowed goal, I was like, that's frustrating because it's going to change how we carry on this game.
Yeah.
It just changed. I think it did delay the subs. I didn't actually want to make wholesome changes at half time because I think we were starting to play a bit better.
Yeah.
But
and I think if that had gone in, it would have changed the mindset and changed how we were generally, and made us a bit more positive, perhaps. And yeah, as you say, then you're not making changes just out of desperation, because by the end we had a back three, a front six, and it was absolute kind of hit and hope. And it's funny, I've seen Gareth Southgate in press conferences and interviews in the last few days, and I almost expect him and want him to turn and sort of go, "Wow, I can't believe I'm here." Like, you look at him and you just think he knows it. He must know it, that he is a shank from Jude Bellingham, or whatever. Just us not scoring away from losing his job. It's just as simple as that. It would have been an absolute disaster. But I guess what's the point in thinking of it like that? It didn't happen, and here we are.
I'm a Southgate fan, but he deserves criticism because during the group stages, there wasn't a moment when we were exiting the tournament. Against Slovakia, we were. He got it wrong.
I actually think on the goal, the Slovakia goal, Scrants gets put in, and I think the commentator, I think it's Lee Dixon on CoCom, says something like, "And Mark Gay, he can't touch him, otherwise, he's in trouble." He does touch him. He catches him from behind, and whilst the chance is presentable and it's there, and he still just scores. I think he's lucky, Mark Gahey, that Scrants doesn't throw himself down, get a penalty, possibly score the penalty, and we are down to 10 men, and we are in real trouble. There was then that moment in the beginning of the second half where we took a short free kick. Was it Walker to Stones? I know Stones wasn't looking. And it was just a scary moment. And actually, I think it's a bad finish. I think he should hit the target there. Yeah. I know he's a long way out, but I don't know. He's got a long time to pick his shot. And lucky not to be 2-0 down.
Well, it's very hard to get excited when we're going to watch these games for the Euros. It does stop you going like, "Oh, where should I go and watch it?" And you're like, it's almost like a type of torture, really. Like, I sort of describe it as sort of being on holiday with an ear infection. You're there and you're like, it's sunny, but I can't go in the pool.
Let's make the most of it, though. But you're struggling to do it. Yeah.
Hopefully, Switzerland, it all changes. And for Southgate, he's not going to, but it all depends on what's going on in that camp at the moment. If the players believe in him and his ideas or not, it doesn't matter about the media background. It doesn't matter what everyone else is saying. It just matters, do they believe in him?
No, of course, and that to happen, during or mid tournament would be catastrophic. Some of these decisions have been, you said he deserves criticism. I don't think it's hindsight to look at this Luke Shaw situation and say, what the hell is happening? Because we were not to know just how unfit he was. If he can't do extra time in this game, how is he expected to start the quarterfinal against Switzerland? The idea that we've got 26 players and we've gone with one left back is pretty mad, apart from anything else. And I don't know whether he's had a setback or what. But
this is what Southgate
spoke before. Well, Southgate spoke before the tournament about Maguire, and he said he wouldn't have been able to play the group games. This isn't worth it. And this is the situation we've had with Shaw. And
if you're counting on a player to come back, one player that isn't rushing back, I know he said he did for United, is Luke Shaw. He spent 50% of his United career injured. Southgate is not a betting man, but he took a big gamble on Luke Shaw here.
It's the problem being such a big game. He hasn't played football in months, and it will be intense. And Switzerland are aggressive and have a lot of energy about them. And I just think this is.
We haven't heard any stories of behind closed doors friendlies like we did with France and Mbappe playing.
Yeah. It looks like we'll probably have to we're definitely going to have to make at least one change. Mark Gahey suspended, and Trippier came off, and I don't know whether that was a serious injury. I haven't heard anything since, to be honest. So we may well need to make another change there. Konsa sort of filled in at left back. You obviously had Saka there for a little while, which was another crazy situation. I'm not that against it. It's, considering people have said so much that Southgate's a negative and defensive manager, that was a pretty bold and attacking decision, although it had been suggested. Did Ian Wright say it on telly, and then it came up in a press conference? Saka was asked about it, and Saka kind of shut it down and said, "I don't think playing me out of position on a left back's really the answer here." But there we were, and like I said, I wasn't dead against it, but it just feels that he is making a few mad decisions, and yet the ones that are right in front of him, in terms of the midfield imbalance and not getting the best out of the front three, and really needing, I think, to change that system. We talked about Anthony Gordon or Jarrod Bowen before the last game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see one of them. I just think that it's all very samey. They look like a group of individuals who are good enough to do things individually, but really that's never going to be the sum of its parts. Do you see what I'm saying? Well, do you know, I'd looked at us in terms of our style. We're now what you consider an elite team, right? We are favourites in, if not every game, nearly every game. We now hold far more of the ball than we used to, and we are expected to take the game to the opposition. That's been the case in the last sort of 2 to 3 years. I looked at us in our performances under Gareth Southgate, and I looked at the possession we've had across these tournaments, and then what we've done with the ball and in what areas. Okay, so at the 2018 World Cup, we had 54% possession. At Euro 2020, 50.9 possession. So actually a slight drop, but roughly similar. It then moved up at the 2022 World Cup to 62% possession, and we're at 60% possession for this one. So you can see a slight shift in the fact that we've expected to have a lot more of the ball and take it to the opposition. But then if you look at what we're actually doing with that possession, we're having more of it, but we're still spending exactly the same time in our own defensive third, exactly the same time in the middle third, which is about 50%, about 25% in the defensive third, and exactly the same time in that final third. And we've got the graphic up there, 22.7% this tournament in the attacking third, and of that, 2.8% in the opposition penalty area. But that is around that 3%. It's a slight drop, so it's worse, despite having more of the ball in some of those previous tournaments. But it is just still a lot of the same stuff, and we didn't create a lot of great chances in some of those previous tournaments. And if you look at and run through the games, we talked about the draw opening up for us, but a lot of those games we've been quite pragmatic and got through them. And talking about it again, the expectation has shifted now. People are not just expecting us to scrape through games and win. They want to be entertained and they want to win well. And our underlying numbers are bad. Our overall numbers in terms of how many goals we've scored and conceded are now, it's not that good either. And I think we've got a big job to be done against Switzerland. And I think it'll be just tough, but I just think we shouldn't have too much expectation. Certainly not to be entertained.
Yes, I think the only thing you gets you through is it's cup football, and 90 minutes you can just suddenly turn it on.
Yeah, and that
can happen, and just change the narrative, and suddenly everyone's excited.
That repeats a point that we've had before. Look, I think that Jude Bellingham goal is going to go down as one of the great England goals at tournaments. I really do, and it was just dramatic. It was quality. You don't see goals like that. It just for anyone, let alone for an England player. And it was huge. So I think there's a chance that it can galvanise people and bring people together and make people go, all right, let's believe in this lot. There are maybe just moments, even in difficult times, but
that can be enough.
Yeah, it can be enough. Of course it can. It can. Yeah. And let's hope it is.
Talking of Bellingham, all over, not just football media, but everyone is worried about him possibly picking up a ban after that celebration.
Yeah.
As we can see here, let's just run this clip.
If they ban Jude Bellingham, we burn the place to the ground.
Yeah. No.
Right. We go out there and we absolutely. There is no way. There is no way that they can ban this guy who is tearing up the tournament. He has got.
I think it's another of these overreactions that we've talked about. Hilarious. I love it. But I think he probably represents a lot of fans in this country where it's like something's got to be done, and I'm really angry about this. It's like it's just this. I don't know.
I think what I find frustrating is these journalists are running with this angle about he can get banned. UEFA are going to ban him, but they're not actually telling us what probably is going to happen through what's happened before, where Cristiano Ronaldo has done exactly the same celebration, grabbing his balls.
Yeah, someone else has as well.
And they've picked up fines for it. And I'll be very surprised if the same doesn't happen to Bellingham. UEFA don't want him missing games.
Yeah, that's it. Move on.
Okay, let's start talking about the other teams now and how they got on. Our predictions so far, fine, aren't we?
Yeah, good.
Good. By going obvious.
Although we only had a couple that we were like, well, who's going to take that one? And Switzerland was one of them. But we both expected Switzerland to win. I don't think there's been many people that have been strongly backing Italy, having seen them in the first few games. But Switzerland were really impressive and really deserved to win in certainly their best performance of the tournament, and maybe one of the best performance from anyone.
I think even Italian fans would not take it. Everyone's disappointed to leave a tournament, but I think it was as expected.
Yeah, I don't think they bottled it or anything like that. I just they're lacking.
That's just where they are.
Quality. Yeah, I think it is just where they are. Yeah, that's right. And got what they deserved. So yeah.
Yeah, and I would say the same about Belgium as well. People kept saying the end of the golden generation, but I was thinking, but we said that last time, didn't we? We've said it.
Yeah, we knew what we were getting from Belgium. They've still got really good front four, good midfield, but
that defence with Vertonghen still there at 37.
Thibaut Courtois as well, as we've talked about previously. So they weren't quite there, and I mean they gave it a good go in this last 16 game. I mean, have France scored a proper goal yet? You talk about England and what we've done. They've scored a penalty and 2 own goals. And have been far from convincing. But as you said pre-tournament, Deschamps is a boring manager, and they know what they are doing here. They've been here before. I think
his phrase is, when it doesn't change until I stop winning.
Yeah, and how can you sort of say much different? I mean, I know the French fans. My French friend Alex, who's listens to the pod and a huge fan of the French cock. I must say,
the cock,
yeah, absolutely. But Alex was saying to me how the fans. I think there's a similar thing going on in France, like there is in England, in terms of how unhappy the fans are with some of the selections. But they are getting that job done as well, aren't they? And Mbappe looked lively again, and then you've got N'Golo Kante, who's never lost a tournament match for France. He's played 19 games for France at tournaments since 2016, and he's won 13 of them and drawn the rest. He's never lost, and he missed out on the 2022 World Cup. In case we're thinking about them going out there, but and he looks on it. So
the problem is he kills all the Saudi argument, doesn't he? When we say about players playing out in Saudi and stuff.
Yeah, I do think he's the outlier. He's doing well.
Okay, so let's look at the quarterfinals. So Spain versus Germany. Everyone's saying they wish this was the final. Fair, isn't it? They're the 2 best teams in the tournament so far.
Yeah, I don't wish it was the final.
No, you want England to be there against Germany, don't you?
Final, yeah.
Actually, no, and then you don't know who to support.
This is a great game. This is is the tie of the round, without question. And yeah, it is the two teams that have looked the best at this tournament. We've got Spain, who've scored 9 times at 8.2 xg. Germany have scored 10 times at 7.9 xg, and those are the biggest numbers in terms of actual or expected across the tournament. Good numbers going at the other end as well, and they both just look fluid and like they have a system and like they know what they are doing. Spain play with 3 in midfield, and then 2 hugely exciting wingers who they look to get into play as soon as they possibly can. Germany a little bit slower in the build up, but a really nice balanced midfield where Gundogan plays slightly ahead of the 2 behind. But again, 2 really exciting wingers that just leap off the page in terms of, they really sort of get you going in Wirtz and Musiala. So I'm really looking forward to some of the matchups there, and I'm not sure which way I want to call that, except to say that I back Germany for the tournament. So I think that's really the only way that I'm going to kind of steer.
Okay, well, I might go Spain just because I'll be different.
Yeah.
I think
it's a close
Germany,
one.
Yeah, Germany, it's hard to say. You can't take those third games seriously, but they have lost. No, they drew, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll go Spain. Now, here's another good game. Portugal, France. That sounds fun as well, doesn't it?
That should also be very good. Although I think it's probably going for I'd go for the unders on that one. I don't think there'll be many goals in that.
No.
That Portugal game against Slovenia. Slovenia, by the way, getting a bit of credit finally.
I noticed
a few days prior.
Yeah.
They've gone out of this tournament having not lost a game, and the pundits, at full time of 90 minutes before going into extra time, talking about how dogged they are, how they love to defend. Aren't they hard to break down? Yeah,
how strong they are. Yeah,
they are. Yeah. No, jokes aside, though, that was a thrilling 0-0.
Yeah.
And Ronaldo, it's just I think he's a mess. What is he doing here? I don't understand how he can get 120 minutes. I don't understand how he's started every game.
It's just weird how everyone seems to be okay with it.
I don't.
From Martinez through the whole squad, it's kind of like they're all. It's like it's his tribute to him, isn't it?
It is like a little tribute act, and not just Martinez, who has been known to kind of favour players and make strange decisions, but even fans and I go back to the pundits, sort of, they talk about Ronaldo. It's like, oh God, what is he like? It's like he's harming them. They would be better playing Jota as centre forward, or Ramos as centre forward even as well, who's barely had a sniff. I don't even think he's come on, has he? And then bringing Ronaldo on if you think he can make an impact. Bring him on late for a bit of chaos or something. He's I've got some numbers here. Okay, so do you know how many he's taken 60 free kicks in international football ever? And he scored once.
Yeah.
He's had 8 shots in that Slovenia game, 20 overall in the tournament, which is the most anyone. He missed a penalty in the game. He was offside twice. He created no chances. He lost 5 out of 7 aerial duels. He drew no fouls, and he committed 2 fouls of his own.
I was going to talk about the heading. You're thinking he could at least do that, but he's just missed timing jumps. It's weird.
Yeah, missed timing jumps is exactly it. And then bumping into people, or just getting nowhere near it. I really, he's one of my favourite players of all time. You know this. I love the guy, and his theatrics sometimes is, very amusing to me. I'm not saying I'm not amused this time.
It was funny still. I still enjoy it.
It is funny, but I almost think he thinks of his own sort of little narratives. He thinks if I cry and take a moment at half time in extra time, I can score in the second half, and it be 1 minute he's crying, the next minute he's the winner. And I think even him scoring the winning or scoring the shootout, I should say, he can still go on, especially if they go on to win the tournament. Say, if we go further down the line, I think he want people to go and look back at that moment. He was crying at one point, and now look at him. I think he thinks hard about stuff like this. I really do, and I just don't think he should be playing. But I think now would actually be a good time to talk about the fan mail we've had in, because this is good sort of timing. But this is from Edward from Sanderstead, and
what age?
He asks, what's that?
Did he say his age?
No, it doesn't say his age.
Oh, okay.
No. Sanderstead Ed, and he says, or he asks, this is a little hypothetical that he said. He sent this in during the Portugal-Slovenia game. If Ronaldo was given the option now to score but lose 2-1, or win on penalties but he misses the penalty, which is he choosing? And I think the fact that I even have to contemplate this tells you everything you need to know about Ronaldo.
He wanted a goal.
Yeah, that's all he wanted. That's all he
really
wanted.
did.
He wants to keep that tournament record going and does not care about anything else.
When he scored that penalty in the shootout, it wasn't of relief. It was that doesn't count, does it, to my goals?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That won't go on the record of scoring in every tournament. So he's going to have to do something against France. But no, he wasn't the hero. Diego Costa, he was the hero. 3 penalty saves, just absolutely outrageous performance. So at least they got someone else to.
I think that's the first clean sheet in a penalty shootout in the Euros, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. And not surprising, is it? Because
it's pretty amazing to keep a clean sheet in 120 minutes and a penalty shootout.
Absolutely. He's in my fancy draft team, and I suggest you should be getting double clean sheet points for that. I mean, fair do, surely.
Yes. Yeah.
So be it. I don't see many goals in that one, but I've got to go for France.
I've got to go for France there as well. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, Netherlands comfortable against Romania. We didn't really expect too much different. We sort of, I remember I sort of thought Romania have looked okay, but I've got to go for Netherlands because.
Who do you think they're playing? It's being played right now while we're recording this pod. Austria versus Turkey. Turkey are 1-0 up. Is Netherlands going to have a problem with any of those two?
They've already lost to Austria. I mean, by the way, more format problems. Why the hell have we got the prospect of Netherlands-Austria playing in the quarterfinal, having just played in the group game? We've had it at Euros before, playing group game and then semi-final. But you should be saving that for the final. You shouldn't. You should split that off anyway. No, I think Austria can go and do that again against Netherlands. But as you say, as we're recording, they're losing to Turkey. So that's a really difficult one to sort of to unpack. So we'll go for Netherlands.
We talked about them already. England versus Switzerland. Say you're not an England fan. Are you saying England are winning that?
Yeah, I would do what I've just done with France, Portugal. Because I just think in terms of overall strength, one
the difference with France though is they create chances.
Yeah, they have created a lot of chances. I joked about the goals they haven't scored, but their underlying numbers are pretty good, and ours are not. I think it's going to be a really difficult game.
So we're saying yes, but we will not be surprised if not. But
I'm not going to be surprised whatsoever. Switzerland are really good. They're improving year on year anyway, but this tournament they've been very, very good. So no surprises, but I've got to back England.
Right, so I think that's all our predictions done. Any other business?
I've got one more shout out just from another fan who's subscribed to us on YouTube.
Or watching this.
People are watching this. Yes. Yeah. I mean, don't look too closely at that total number, but so Karen, who's just turned 40, she's a new subscriber on YouTube, and a shout out to Karen. So, hi Karen.
Hi Karen.
And if you want a shout out on this podcast, visually or on audio form, just give
us, in person,
or whatever you need, just give us a subscribe on Spotify or YouTube. Thanks.
Cool. Bye.